Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Untapped Podcast. My name is Jacob Gabel.
And my name is Jacob Wurtz, guys. Welcome to episode 203 of the Untapped Podcast. If this is your first time joining us, first of all, thank you. We are thrilled to have you here with us. We actually have 5 main formats of our show. Now, first, we have 1442 episodes. Now, in these episodes, we cover the mental side of our brand. So we go over our experiences with things like mindset and mentality. We pass on tips and advice to you guys to then apply to your own lives. Next, we have physical vitality episodes, which is what we have today for you. Again, we're going with a three-peat here. These ones are our bread and butter, okay? These are where we cover the physical side of our brand. We really get to showcase our skills, our expertise, because you have 2 certified personal trainers here. So in these ones, we cover everything that we offer through our Untapped training, which is powered by the First Form Performance platform. We also go over everything to do with fitness, the gym, workouts, nutrition, supplements. Sometimes we'll take trending articles or topics within the fitness industry. We'll give our thoughts and opinions on those. Again, these are our bread and butter, so make sure you guys pay attention.
Nice work. All right, on to our third format, guys. Our third format is our breaking news format. It's a current event-based format. We touch on current events, current articles, and also how there's a lot more solutions to these current events than you maybe think, especially as a regular citizen. Now, we also have our fourth format, which is our Knights Table format. It is a masculinity-based format. Now, masculinity is a massive deal to us here at Untapped because we do men's workouts, and obviously those are massive things. So if you're looking to get involved in anything in person in St. Louis, that's a great option for that. We actually have one coming up this weekend that, when you're hearing this, will be of last Saturday. Mm-hmm. But we are not perfect men here. Any of us 3, the only perfect man to ever walk this earth is Jesus Christ. Now, on to our guest format, our 5th format. We sit down with entrepreneurs, fitness professionals, athletes, doctors, anybody with a great story or somebody who brings you value of some sort. Those we learn a ton from ourselves. You, in turn, will also learn a lot from these episodes. Our final thing to introduce before the main content of the episode and our fact of the day is our producer and my brother, Mitchell Gabel.
Yo, what's going on?
Yo.
You look like Johnny Depp.
I do?
Yeah.
Why?
So random.
Pirates of the Caribbean with the soul patch. Kind of look like him.
I'm asking why I look like
Amber
him.
Heard. Yep. Beat him.
Yep.
Yeah. That's everything. Yeah.
Could you do the run like him?
No. Why do I look like him, though?
Because you got the soul patch going on right
Oh, yeah,
now.
a little bit.
Yeah.
A little bit of soul patch, mustache, yeah.
Yeah, it makes me think of a pirate.
Why did I not peep the soul patch at all?
Been going as long as the mustache has been
really?
going.
Okay. Yeah, I guess it wasn't as thick as the mustache. Maybe
No,
that's why
it's not.
Yeah.
It's not. We're trying, though. We're trying.
That's funny.
Is that a compliment?
I like him as a character.
All right, cool.
Yeah. And Johnny Depp's a good-looking dude, I'd say. Yeah,
Sweet.
right?
A little
Yeah.
weird,
He takes after me, so it would make sense then.
I guess.
Yeah.
His acting career is a lot like your life.
Yeah, very similar.
Yeah.
I mean, I did live on a ship for a few years, so I mean, that's really where the similarities come into play.
That's news to me.
It's a hidden part of Wurtzy's life. You know,
Gotcha.
Maybe in a future episode.
You went off grid, so to speak.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
Yes, very much so. Yeah. Had to walk the plank a couple times, and I'm still here.
I feel like walking the plank would be kind of fun.
Would it though?
I mean,
it'd be like
they're actually trying to kill you.
Guillotine.
If they're actually trying to kill you, then no. But if you're just walking the plank just to dive off it, that'd be pretty fun. Yeah.
I believe that would be called a diving board.
I knew exactly. I started laughing prematurely there. Oh my gosh!
Man. All right, Money Mitch. Back to the day. What do you got for us?
Did you know German chocolate cake was invented by an English-German baker named Samuel German? Had nothing to do with Germany.
Interesting.
Oh, those damn Anglo-Saxons. Those wasps always trying to steal our heritage.
Say wasps?
Yeah, white Anglo-Saxon Protestant. That's the actual terminology for that group.
I think he just makes this shit up.
Mitchell, you know what a wasp is? Yes.
I know what the insect is.
No, he's too scared of them. I
don't know anyone that likes wasps.
I'm a professional wasp murderer.
Oh yeah. Me too.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. They think of me as SEAL Team 6.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
Give me a flip-flop and it's over.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Yeah. 100%.
Interesting. So
anyways,
German chocolate cake.
Neither of you guys know white Anglo-Saxon Protestant?
No,
okay.
No.
Just troll central.
Yeah,
here.
we just don't want to hear you talk.
Unbelievable. Yeah. Hey, fuck you.
You like that word? Find that funny there?
Oh, man.
Come on, Johnny.
Wow.
So they've been lying to us about chocolate cake.
So some scumbag Englishmen took it from us.
Us German heritage folk here, Don't even get chocolate cake.
Nope.
We get other things though.
True.
We don't get any desserts. We're not allowed it.
Just bratwurst. That's
Just
it.
bratwurst.
Yep.
Yeah. Just kraut.
Yeah.
Yep. That's it.
Yeah. Okay. Cool.
Oh, and beer.
Oh, of
Freaking
course.
beer.
Of course.
That
Of
alone
course.
puts us number one.
Snickle Fritz.
What?
What?
Snickle Fritz?
Yeah.
This is actually a word?
Yes.
that?
It's a beer. Urban chestnut here in St. Louis. Some say Schnickel Fritz.
Never heard of them.
Some say Snickle Fritz. Yellow can. Okay. Like Zwickel.
Well, of course, Wickel. Yeah.
Same brand. Same company.
Well, I know Urban Chestnut. Yeah, of
Yeah, there
course.
you go.
Yeah, no, but I've never heard of Snickle Fritz.
You've never heard of that? You don't know what wasps are? You guys.
Wasp is a very obvious one. That's different. That's
Let
like-
us know in the comments, guys.
That's-
Did you know that WASP is an acronym for that?
I hope you guys say yes to that. I really do.
They're going to say
That's
no.
going to be the poll for this this week's episode.
They're on Mitch and I's side
Hmm.
of this.
Insane.
Yeah.
It's okay. I'll be the lone wolf.
Schnitzel, too. That's another thing that Germans get. Kind of like pork chops.
Yeah, see that
Very good.
that I know. Of
It's
course.
very
yeah,
good.
Yeah.
Yes. Anyway, enough of that.
No German heritage. Sorry, guys. We're very biased.
That's right. That's right. All right, episode 203. I said we have a three-peat on the physical vitalities here. I would say this is a question that you and I get asked fairly often. Mostly, I guess, from beginner lifters, guys that are just trying to get into the gym maybe for the first time, or it's been the first time in a long time that they're trying to get into the gym. I would say a lot of people are intimidated by the gym. We know that,
course.
and we were those guys at some point,
Mhm.
But the question is, are the basics enough? Is our basic workouts, our basic programs, our basic lifts, are they enough? And so I think we should start by defining what the basics might be,
Mhm.
And then kind of go from there.
Yeah, I think that's a good starting point for sure. Because funny enough, as you said, like a lot of people ask us this, I literally had some clients that I trained with a few sessions in person in Iron Hive asked me this yesterday. Because they stopped me real quick and I was like, hey, how are you guys doing? All that stuff. But they asked that almost exact question. And I basically had to describe to them like, look, your hinges, things like RDLs, back extensions, deadlifts, that type of stuff.
Sure.
That would be considered in the realm of basics. You could also consider machines in the realm of basics
Mhm.
for sure. Because again, they have such a low learning curve that it's easy
Yeah.
to jump into them.
And low error rate.
100%. Yeah. Hinges again, machines. You have squat patterns of any sort. Learning those, or at least having a body weight squat down pat, or a barbell back squat, Zercher squats, box squats, all those down pat at a
Goblet
good
squats.
form. Goblet squats, 100%. You could argue again, like a vertical pull movement, like a lat pull down.
Mhm.
That would also be a basic type of thing.
Yeah.
A horizontal pull, like a bent over row.
Yeah.
Those are basics as
Or
well.
a seated cable row.
Or a seated
Same
cable
thing.
row,
Yeah.
100%. Yes. And again, you could technically throw cables into machines. Sometimes I kind of overlap them because they have a pretty similar learning curve
Yeah,
overall.
of course.
Learning basic arm movements. That's important too. That's another one I don't want to forget there either. But yeah, push pull movements like I mentioned there, hinges, squat patterns. Trying to think what else. What else would you throw into there? Like off the top of my head here, I'm trying to list off the ones I can remember.
I would say the traditional route of push-pull legs
Mhm.
fits into the basic category. Now, in addition to that, that is not to say that push-pull legs will not test you, will not get you results, will not be sufficient workouts, will not be hard workouts. It's not to say any of those things.
Sure.
Because push-pull legs is a great split to
It can
follow.
absolutely still be a good split. Yeah.
It's basic in the way of simplicity.
Mhm.
It's easy to follow. Okay, is this a push movement or is this a pull movement? Okay, this is a push movement, so it fits into my push day.
Mhm.
This is a pull movement, so it fits into, and so on and so forth. So I would say just about anything that can fit into that split. Now, you can get very advanced in push-pull legs, of course. You can get advanced into any split, really. Whether it's push-pull legs, upper, lower, full. You can even split it into the different planes
yeah.
of the body, and things like that. That's getting a little bit more into the advanced side of things.
Mhm.
But I would say you covered it. Like, I think that's a great rundown of it. The hinges,
Mhm. Maybe some lateral movements could be thrown in there too.
Lateral movements could be.
Again,
You
like
could
you said,
almost-
you were about to say the plane, sagittal, frontal,
Right.
all that stuff too. I mean,
Right.
that's an important one to cover those
Yeah,
as well.
exactly.
So that's actually a really good key there. Yeah, because transverse, sagittal, frontal. Yes, those three.
Isn't there a fourth?
Um,
Say frontal.
yeah, frontal, sagittal, and then transverse. Yeah, unless I'm missing the fourth and I'm losing my mind.
I could be
now.
wrong.
Yeah,
I could be wrong. Yeah. But
Right.
anyway, those planes, if you don't know, it's basically different ways to split up the body. You have front and back, you have upper and lower, and then you have left and right. It's pretty simple there. But those types of training models, I would say they kind of go into that gray area between basic and advanced. And more of that knowledge, I would say, and I think you would agree with this, is more for the coach. I don't think an individual that's training on their own needs to necessarily like dive into all that, unless you want to. By all means, if you want to,
as long as your
great.
split covers that stuff.
Exactly.
And you were thinking horizontal plane, but horizontal is the same as transverse.
There you
too.
go.
That's
There you
because I was about to say horizontal, but I'm like, wait a second, they're the same.
Yeah.
So, anyways, there's just the three. Yeah.
Yeah. So that's kind of getting into the more technical side here as we're trying to talk about the basics. But I think you covered the basic umbrella very easily there. Training basic. Can basics be enough? Back to the original question here. It can be. It absolutely can be. Whether you are a brand new lifter or you're a very trained lifter, basics are fine. Basics are basics for a reason. They've been around for a long time for a reason, and there's nothing wrong with that. But I would say that everyone gets to a point in their fitness journey where the basics are not sufficient, where it is time to introduce, a higher load management, potentially, new movements that test you in different ways. Things like sprinting could fit into the above basic category. Maybe not, but it could be, especially different ways of sprinting, different styles of sprinting, whether that's, different drills with cuts, or it's longer distances, or it's your starting position changes. Maybe you go from wide receiver stance to a traditional, draft combine stance where you're starting on the ground like a sprinter start. Maybe you're doing lateral starts, almost like you're stealing a base in baseball. So there's ways that you can even advance things like sprinting, but I would say that everyone gets to a point in their fitness journey to where the basics don't do enough. Maybe not don't do it, but you get to a point where you need more.
There's some things that aren't covered necessarily.
Yeah.
Because you could argue, staying on the sprinting topic and as part of that, you could argue that foundationally sprinting is basic, but it's such an intense movement that it's hard to include it in the basic realm of things. Like being able to walk and jog is probably more considered like a basic type of motion that should be able to occur for any human being. You know what I mean?
No, 100%.
Or any like able-bodied human being, really. So it's such a challenging topic for sure, and we expected this with this episode for sure. Naturally, you kind of expect there to be a little bit of a gray area when it comes to the basics and whatnot. But going back to those two clients earlier, I told them I kind of gave what we're giving you guys as an answer right now too. Of you can't really say yes or the basics going to be enough. You know what I mean? And are you covering all your bases lifting wise? Could you stay and cover all those bases lifting wise in the gym if you did the basics? Yes. Again, because machines, when you're talking about like people are like, what about rotation? Well, there are machines that do rotation as well that you can still train that
Some
are
really good ones too, by the way.
Oh, 100%. We have a couple over in Iron Hive actually that are really solid. And, so those would cover the basis for the basics. As funny as that is, so my point is you could get away with it. And again, I was kind of telling them this too, but I'm like, and I told him, I was like, yeah, but in 3 months, we might want to advance some things for you guys. Right. And I told him, I was like, that's when I would like you guys to come back for some sessions and whatnot. We go over some things and we teach you a few other things and whatnot that come along with it too. And these are clients in their 60s too, by the way.
Yeah.
So it's not just a blanket statement for somebody that's 19 can only get into the advanced section of things. You know what I mean? So yes, lifting, you could get away with sticking with the basics, especially if you're doing like bodybuilding and whatnot. You definitely could. You're just targeting hypertrophy. You definitely could get away with sticking with the basics for sure.
And that's why oftentimes bodybuilding splits, like guys that are actually training for shows, oftentimes those splits and those movements are basics.
They hardly change for a lot of those guys,
Yeah.
if we're being really
Yeah.
honest.
And
yeah.
There's nothing wrong with that.
100%.
We're not saying there's anything wrong with that.
Yeah, and there was, going back to the push-pull legs things too on that same thing, including that in the basics conversation, there are some people that would argue, and we would probably argue this as well, where, maybe push-pull legs isn't optimal enough as a split. You got to be careful with that word, obviously, a lot of the times. But if you're able to go in with push-pull legs and train it in a very intense manner and it be effective, and you're still seeing muscle growth and body composition changes from it, then I would consider that pretty optimal for the average person. You know what I mean?
Sure.
So,
and I think where people miss on push-pull legs, specifically on the push and the pull parts of that, is when people think of push, they think of chest and triceps. So then the shoulders get neglected.
Mm-hmm.
On pull days, they think of biceps and back. So then things like your rear delts get neglected, and could you include rear delts in your shoulder portions of your push day? Yeah, but then are you really doing push-pull legs? Or are we doing chest and shoulders?
And that's where the semantics come into play, and the nuance and all that stuff comes into play there.
For sure. Because when I'm programming someone that wants to do push-pull legs, I'm including things like rear delts on the pull day.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, you're hitting shoulders, technically 2 days in a row, but you're hitting different parts
but
of the shoulders.
It's a pull motion. 100%.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's the differentiation.
And that's like, if you don't have a coach and you're trying to figure out if something is push or pull, it's as simple as that. Are you pushing the weight or are you pulling the weight? I mean, there's no hidden meaning behind that. It's just literally, how are you moving the weight?
Yes.
Is it going away from your body or is it coming to your body?
Yeah.
Then you make your decision.
And then people will be like, what about a tricep extension? Well, you're pushing the weight down and away from you.
Right.
So with a bicep curl, you're pulling the weight towards you.
Exactly.
So it's pulling the weight again.
Exactly.
And that's how you would differentiate. Again,
Right.
it sounds like we're simplifying this to a big degree, which we are. Like that's kind of the idea on that too, where it's because a lot of times it's like, well, I feel like it's pretty complex. No, it's really not. Like it really is like, on a row, you are pulling the weight.
Yeah.
On a press, you're pushing the weight.
Just think about it very literally.
100%. And legs, pretty basic there.
Pretty basic. But where I was going to go with legs is people will often neglect the glutes, especially men, but that has to be a part of it, It just does.
Well, dudes get afraid of hip thrust and stuff like that. Sometimes even dudes don't like doing RDLs and whatnot, which is mind blowing to me.
RDLs are awesome.
Yeah, they're by the way such a good movement.
Now the great thing about glutes is like they're going to get worked on most every other movement that you do for legs, other than isolation. Your leg curls and your leg extensions. Like obviously that's isolating your quads or your hammies. So yeah, you're probably not working your glutes there, but on squats, on RDLs,
very tertiary on the hamstring curls.
Exactly. Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. But on your squats, on your RDLs, your other hinge movements, even good mornings, things like that, like you're still using your glutes, but it's also good to do some dedicated work to them, So I don't know where we started with all that.
Well, you were going to say, like, on the other side of things, we argued, okay, yes, are basics enough, and can they be? If we cover all the bases we just listed, yes, they can be.
Yeah.
But if we're talking about the average person and going for longevity and all this other stuff that comes along with it and being able to move fluidly, oftentimes you'll want to throw in something that doesn't come off as basic.
Yeah.
And a lot of times, like one thing that comes into my mind is lateral type movements, lateral lunges, lateral lunge into a step up, maybe even athlete movements like box jumps and depth drops and jumps in general.
Lateral jumps,
sprinting like we talked about too, to some, maybe even a light degree, like a 40% sprint. Doesn't even have to be a full out 100% NFL combine sprint or something like that, of course.
Farmers carries could go into this.
Farmers carries are a semi-unique movement for sure.
Curtsy lunge.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
So again, like as you guys are noticing now, it's like, whoa, there's a lot of extra accessories and or other stuff too.
Yeah.
Because some people would argue, okay, like a Zercher squat is not a basic. Funny enough, we would argue it is a basic.
Right.
It just has gained a lot of popularity in the last 2 to 3 years.
Absolutely.
And people think it's like this super hard movement to do, when actually it's the execution of it is easier, in my opinion, than a front squat.
It just looks scary.
Yeah,
people,
100%.
That's all.
Yeah.
And
it's going to rip my elbows or my bicep right off the tendon or something like that.
And you've actually kind of changed my mind on Zerchers, because I fell into that category. It's like, dude, I wouldn't really consider this a basic movement. But when you do start to think about the comparison between Zercher squats and front squats, the margin for error is lower with a Zercher, and because you're not reliant on your shoulder mobility or even your wrist flexion,
especially
and things like that.
Especially wrist mobility.
Yeah, because if you're going to front squat and you're trying to turn your elbows under almost like a clean, a lot of people cannot get up high enough, and for a long time I was that way, so I would always do the hands crossed, or the arms crossed rather. And that's fine.
Well, keep in mind with the arms crossed too. Think about how uncomfortable that is on your shoulders and your collarbone. You have to place it properly there too. There's also the piece there to where it's like, okay, the Zercher uncomfortability is there at first, but then you get used to it and it's not there compared to even when you're crossing the arms. That's also very uncomfortable.
Yeah, absolutely. And like with the Zerchers, most of the time I'm doing them, which I'm not currently doing them, but when I am doing them, most of the time I'll wear sleeves just to try to take some of that out of the equation, because then it's not, for me anyway, I'm able to focus on the actual movement better and keeping myself in a correct position. And I'm not having to worry about like, man, this bar is really, really grippy. So it feels like it's like digging into your skin. It more than likely isn't, like you're not going to start bleeding from
no, of course not.
But if that's what's scaring you from it, wear sleeves. That day, wear a hoodie and then take it off after the Zerchers, or whatever.
Like long compression sleeves or something like that.
Yeah, exactly.
The thing is, too, is what I always go back to with something like Zerchers, again, that falls into still basic, but people consider it more advanced, is what I go back to when I tell people about this as an anecdotal example, is I go back to, I can do 315 on Zerchers. I cannot do 315 on front squats.
Yeah.
Essentially, even if you ask me to.
Yeah.
Like it would be extremely difficult
to
do that on front squats for me, for sure. And maybe that's because I in a more dedicated manner trained Zercher squats. Who knows? Some people would make that argument as well. But
and your confidence is higher.
Yeah, 100%. But also with front squats, I trained them for a long time early in my lifting career and whatnot. First 3 to 4 years especially. And my confidence went up so much faster on some of the Zercher squats to lift heavy weight. Because also, here's the thing. You can bail a lot easier on a Zercher squat 100%. Too. All you have to do is just flip your arms out and then the weight's on the ground. While with the front squat, you're basically dropping it from an unknown height.
From a standing position.
Yeah, exactly. And then the thing is, you have to kind of pop the whole body out of the way. Let's say you're in the bottom position on a front squat, which if you're on video, pick up on this. But you're on the bottom position on a front squat and you fail.
Where do you go?
Okay, you have to push it forward, but then jump your whole body out of the way. Well, with Zercher, it's just boom, pop the arms out, and it's off the elbows, and you're good. You know?
Because even in that fashion, like a back squat is safer there because you drop it off your back.
Yeah.
It's not going to hit you. It might roll away or something. Like, obviously, you got to be aware of what's going on around you.
But I guess we can't forget with more advanced movements too, cleans, snatches, jerks, that type, like Olympic lifting type movements. Those are definitely in the non-basics.
Even probably overhead press.
Overhead press, you could argue.
Yeah.
You could argue it's technically basic because you can do it seated, even with a barbell if there's a setup for that.
Sure.
At your gym. Or you can do seated dumbbell press, obviously, with overhead press there too.
And that's what I was going to say. Would you say that dumbbell military press, dumbbell overhead press, is the basic version of it? Standing barbell overhead press would be the advanced version of it.
I would argue yes to that, 100%. Just like off the cuff there, yes, I would say yes to that because of the fact that if you're going to load up a standing overhead press or a standing military press, you got to have a strong base to be able to do that and confidence to put the weight over your head while you're standing like that too.
Yeah.
Which can be very, very nerve-wracking and or challenging at first when you start loading that up.
Sure.
I mean, that's the thing is like I've failed before on an overhead press. Actually, it was a big part of my last little training cycle I was doing for myself about a month or two ago. And failing on it's weird because you kind of have to like make sure your chin's still turned up and then be able to like lean your body weight forward to where you can just re-rack it.
Yeah.
Almost like pushing the bar back into the actual, J hooks.
Right.
And be able to catch it there. Otherwise you're in trouble.
Yeah.
So if you don't fail correctly on that, that's also a pretty dangerous movement for sure. So you could argue definitely a more advanced version of that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I mean, I think we covered kind of how we wanted to start. The basics could be enough, but if you only stick to the basics, there's variety that can be missed, and so we've already talked about sprinting. Does that get included in basics? High level endurance. I guess let's define high level endurance, and then we can make a determination on that. On the basic side of endurance, being able to run things like a mile to 2 miles, that would fit into your basics.
You could even throw a 5K in there if you really
You
wanted
could.
to.
You could. Yeah. So that 1 to 3 range, that 1 to 3 mile range, like that would fit into the basics. Being able to ruck that same amount of distance would fit into the basics. Now, as we get into the further distances, especially on the running side of this, that's definitely where this becomes advanced because you can kind of get away with running a mile with poor form, poor breathing, high heart rate. Like you can get away with that in it, maybe even up to that 3 mile mark. Like you can be dummy enough to just keep going. And it's like, yeah, I ran 3 miles. And then you realize like, well, my heart rate was 195 the entire time. And I was breathing like this the whole time, so I had no control over my body while I was doing that, and that's the point here. So where the advanced part of this comes in is doing the opposite of what I just said, being able to control your breathing, knowing how to control your pace, knowing how to control your heart rate. All very difficult things to do, by the way. Very difficult things to do. And things that take practice, things that take patience as well. And I am saying this as someone who is not really a good long distance runner. I am not currently running, but when I do go through those phases, in my training, like that is something that I put a lot of effort into paying attention to, maybe even too much so, but trying to keep the heart rate down, controlling the breathing as much as possible, in a controlled manner. Are you going to have your spurts during your long runs? Whereas, maybe, but the better you can get at controlling the breathing, the better your runs are going to be, the more efficient your runs are going to be. And when you're done with it, you're not just completely gassed out, That cover the 3: pace, breathing, heart rate. Yeah,
that's a good cover there. I mean, you could throw obviously cycling and mountain biking into this conversation too, or like in general, like pedaling type events throw into the high level cardiovascular work, because like going for a 5 mile bike ride, if you're at a reasonable light pace, it's really not that tough.
No,
it really isn't. Even with like the incorrect, like not like a road cycling bike, you know what I mean? You could do that on just a regular bike that you just kind of have. You know what I mean?
Your Walmart bike.
Yeah, exactly. You really like on a Schwinn or something like that, you definitely could do that. Yeah. But if you're talking about, doing races that are 20, 50, 100 plus mile events and whatnot with road cycling or gravel biking, or if you're talking about doing, 10, 15 plus mile events for mountain biking, that's high level work there.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I mean? And really, I would argue mountain biking is always more advanced in general.
For sure.
Pretty much if you go 2 miles mountain biking on a trail, it's very difficult.
Yeah.
And Mitch can attest to that as well, being the actual talented mountain biker in the room there. But going back to what you were saying about, running, rucking, that type of stuff as well, and different control there, that's an important note for sure. If you're training for like 5+ mile events and whatnot, or even up to, like 10Ks, half marathons with running, all that stuff, maybe even that distance with rucking as well. Yeah, there's going to be a lot of advancement that comes into that. But, on that same level, it's a little bit, the advancement conversation is a little bit different than lifting in that scenario. You know what I mean? Like the actual skill acquisition that comes into play for lifting is much different than the skill acquisition for running, walking, cycling.
Yeah.
It just is. Like there's no
and
other
that's
way to
not
put
to
it.
say one is harder than the other.
No,
they're just different.
No, 100%. It's just different. Really, pace, breathing, heart rate is what you're actually looking at for when it comes to advancement of that, for sure. And the thing, because funny enough, non-runners like you and I, realistically, if we actually want to do like a zone 2 pace, people kind of argue the numbers here, but it's usually like 110 to 130 beats per minute on average. During that, we'd probably have to run at like an 11-minute pace.
Yeah. And that like bores me.
100%. It's like, damn.
Yeah.
This is going on forever.
No, literally, though. It takes you a half hour to run 3 miles.
Exactly.
It's just like, this sucks.
Yeah, but all of a sudden you and I are at a 9-10 minute pace and it's 140, 150 plus beats per minute on the heart rate. It's like, well, that's not zone 2 work. Now, granted, there's some content I've seen on cardiovascular rated stuff that makes a good point. Realistically, if you're not like an endurance athlete and you're only able to run or walk 2 to 3 times a week, zone 2 is probably not a concern you need to have that much.
Right.
Now, control of your heart rate and your breathing and all that stuff absolutely is something you need to control. You don't need to be in an all-out sprint in your runs and walks those 2 to 3 times a week you do that.
Right.
That's just, you don't need to be doing that. But for sure, like advancement of it is when like you're able to run 4 or 5 times a week, and then you're, okay, I have a couple zone 2 runs this week. I have 1 fast pace and I have 2 medium or intermediate paces.
Yeah. Or a long run.
Exactly. That's when it starts getting advanced. Or intervals.
Yeah.
And because intervals can be very advanced, because the thing is, if you're doing intervals, you might be running, let's say 400 to 800 meter intervals or whatever on a track. You're resting 30 seconds to a minute, and that's it.
Yeah.
And you're at a high pace during that 400 to 800 meters. That's hard. Right. That's really hard.
You're basically sprinting a lap.
100%
is the goal.
Basically as close to as you can get, obviously. And that would come into the more advanced conversation when it comes to the cardiovascular work for sure. But yeah.
No, absolutely.
I would say like the answer of the prompt is definitely like can the basics work? Yes. And you can stay as a healthy human being with the basics. Absolutely. Mm-hmm. But also, like, again, if you want to be able to cover a lot of bases, you want to be able to go to workouts with your friends, like come to our men's workouts, and that's not your usual style of training. You want to be able to succeed at those. You want to do different, unique, non-basic styles of lifting and also cardiovascular work.
Yeah.
So, and the men's workout's just a close example to us, obviously, that we can cover there. So it's easier for us to touch on that.
But it's a test.
Yeah, 100%.
Every time we go through a workout, you and I at some point look at each other and it's like, why the hell did we make this so hard?
Because we're retards. That's why.
No, but literally though, and these are coming from guys that have been training for a long, long time and have done just about every style in the book other than CrossFit,
Yeah.
Like
we've both done Olympic lifting, but that's not just what CrossFit is.
Right. Right. But we have covered a lot of different areas of fitness training, and without fail, our men's workouts with the sandbags and the movements that we do with them are extremely difficult. And those are absolutely in the advanced side of things. Now, if you don't feel you are an advanced lifter or don't feel like you're capable of that, you need to still come, because number one, our movements are very scalable when needed. We do it every workout. We scale something for someone, and guess what? There's no issue. We actually love it because it gives us opportunity to coach.
Exactly.
Yeah. And number two, you're going to learn that you may and probably are capable of more than what you are doing. Like maybe it is time to get past the basics in the gym. Maybe it's time to get you a few sandbags. So once a week, you train with the sandbags just to mix it into your style, mix it into your regimen, that type of thing, and give you a different look for a day. It's never a bad thing. Even if you are following a program, which you should be, and it should be from Untapped Training.
Based.
Even if you are following a program, it's okay for one morning to do one of our men's workouts and do a sandbag workout. Like that's fine. It's not going to kill your program. It's not going to kill your gains. None of that. It's going to test you in a very different way than what your program might be doing. And
luckily, a lot of the gyms are also offering more sandbag options now too.
Definitely becoming more popular.
Slowly but surely. Yeah. It's definitely not a fast process, but
sure.
There's gyms definitely getting more sandbag options in, which is cool to see.
It is.
Because then you can, instead of having to buy sandbags, you can just have a gym membership at one place, and it works out well. So, I would say the men's workout's easy. Again, if you want to just for example, at First Form Summer Smash, we jumped in to a couple workouts and whatnot. Or if we wanted to jump into the ruck, we can just jump into the ruck or whatever the heck they got going on. Body weight, basketball court workout. If we wanted to jump into that, we could have done that, because that's what non-basics help with, is you aren't just a one-dimensional athlete. Because athlete's a pretty good term for it. You're on a one-dimensional lifter, athlete, human in general. Yeah. 100%. Yeah.
No, absolutely. All right, guys, at the end of all of our non-guest episodes, Money Mitch over there will ask us a Q&A question submitted by you guys, the listeners or the viewers. Now, real quick, we have a few different ways that we would like you to submit these to us. Number one, you can email them to us. Crazy little brain fart there. Our email is untappedllp@gmail.com. You can leave them in the comments on any of our social media posts. We are active on all the major platforms, so you can leave your questions in the comments there. You can DM them to us. Our Instagram is untapped.llp. You can also DM them to either one of us individually. You can text them over to us. These questions can be about anything, though. It can be health and fitness related. It can be current event related. It could be funny. Anything. And we will give our best shot at it. All of those get sent over to Money Mitch, and then he will pick one out at the end of the episode.
Are you ready?
Oh, we're ready.
Would you rather have fingers as long as your legs or legs as short as your fingers?
Fingers as long as your legs or legs as long as your fingers? I mean,
technically, legs as short as your fingers.
yeah, there you go. I mean, either way, you just look ridiculous.
Third option, made up in Canada.
Yeah.
Medically assistance in dying.
Right.
Medically assisted suicide up in Canada. Third option.
Euthanization.
I mean, so I guess whichever option you pick, you do keep the other one. So like, if you had fingers as long as your legs, like you would still be tall, unless you're Mitch. But
did add that on camera, Mitch?
Right. But if you choose the legs as short as your fingers, like you're just a midget with a big upper body.
Like you're
you look like an alien.
Here's the thing: if your legs are as short as your fingers too, your torso is going to break them.
Yeah.
You're not going to have working legs anyways.
Perpetual breaks.
You kind of look like Mr. Krabs when you be walking around.
Yeah, no, literally.
But also, I will say, it make you pretty good at fighting if you had fingers as long as your legs.
You would certainly have the reach advantage. Yeah.
Like that, yeah. Like Mr. Fantastic in Fantastic Four.
Yeah, right.
Or what's in Mr. Incredibles or in The Incredibles? Elastigirl.
Oh, the mom.
Yeah, the mom.
Of course. Yeah.
Like her basically be your fingers.
Dude,
I'm probably keeping my legs the same length.
I think so too.
Yeah.
I think so too.
As awful as that sounds, as awful as both options sound, I would because the thing is, you're not gonna be able to walk.
Bro, you look like an octopus because you would your fingers would still be the same size,
and you'd have 5 on each side.
But they would just be long, like I could turn the camera off from here. You know,
it's like a Hydra. Like that. Ooh, like this.
What a ridiculous question.
Man, but your bitch slap would be money.
Oh yeah.
Oh man,
yeah.
it would. Just an absolute.
Your fist would be huge.
You know that power slap event that Dana White does.
Of course.
You'd be the man at power slap.
Yeah, but you'd have to stand on the end of the platform.
Exactly. The other guy couldn't slap you. You'd only be able to slap
Just be
him.
whiffing.
Yeah. That's actually such a funny image.
Just holding his head.
Well, the thing is, too, you'd slap the other guy, but then you would take out his whole crew on the other side, too. So
okay. Hold on. We're not 9 feet tall. We're swooping out a whole
but you got
group of people.
5 fingers that are like 3 feet long?
Yeah. 3. I couldn't reach you from here. Like we're not talking about, being 9 feet tall and your fingers are 5 feet.
I mean, if his crew's right there, you're taking him out.
If they're right there,
yeah,
yes.
But they won't be, obviously. But still, funny idea.
Buddy over here, yeah.
See, we got to lean on your strengths here because in the case of having,
we need to get like a meter stick.
In the case of having finger length legs, there is no advantage.
No,
you have no.
Not.
You're just an amputee. That's it. You're both your legs are gone.
You're literally a bowling ball.
Yeah. Like that. That's about it. And that's it. Because you're not going to be able to use your legs. You aren't going to have any legs.
He was holding his finger up to his waist.
Exactly.
He's like, this is how tall you would be.
Exactly. Yeah. You'd have to scoot around like this.
Just to play devil's advocate here, what would be an advantage of having finger length legs? Like, we got to think of something here. Fixing cars, like underneath.
Yeah. Yeah, actually, you're a great mechanic.
You wouldn't need to lay down. You could just stand up.
You wouldn't need the board that slides you underneath there. You'd be able to just wiggle under there yourself. Yeah, 100%. That you'd be able to. Oh, you'd actually probably be a good sniper because you would be able to hide from the enemy really well.
I guess.
I don't know. The thing is, the recoil of like a 50 cal would send you flying back like 15 feet. You're jetting out the back like another round came out the back.
If you guys are only listening on audio, like you need to see what we've been doing this last 5 minutes. Like reenacting these situations here.
Yeah, honestly, mechanic might be the only one. Might be the only advantage there.
Yeah.
To be honest with you, dude.
I mean, I guess you would still technically have to lay down.
Be able to go back in the city museum.
Huh?
Through the caves. I got kicked out of the caves because I got stuck in the caves in City Museum. I didn't get kicked out.
Mitch, is this a true story?
I just couldn't fit in the caves anymore because I was too big at like 11 or 12 or whatever it was, and I was pissed that I couldn't. So if I didn't have if I had finger linked legs, I could go back in the caves again.
You wouldn't be able to ride roller coasters.
Oh, that would be a big downside.
Yeah. I mean, when's the last time you rode a roller coaster?
I mean, every once in a while. Yeah, like Silver Dollar City or something.
You just go to Six Flags by yourself on Tuesdays and whatnot.
That place I won't be visiting anytime soon. That's for sure.
What a crazy question. I don't know.
Problem is, Wurtz, you ride a roller coaster and your fingers get stuck in the damn track because if you that was awesome. You pulled out of the seat because your fingers are so long. Yeah.
You would have to put them up
because you'd have to have a seat by yourself and like put them in like
and,
this.
Sit on them.
Yeah. Even then, though, you won't be able to fit in the seat if you sit.
How would
you
drive? You'd have to drive from the back seat of the car.
Oh, I didn't think about driving. I mean, you can't drive with no legs either, I guess. At the same time, yeah,
you just roll everywhere. I guess.
I mean, you have to like stuff one hand in the back and have those fingers drive.
You would have to sit from the middle row. Like if you're in like a 3-row vehicle, you would have to sit in one of the captain's chairs. And if you're in a regular car, you would have to sit in the back seat.
Yeah, but how are you hitting the gas pedal? With another finger?
Extenders. Pedal extenders. I mean, Mitch, how did you get your pedal extenders?
Oh my god.
No plug there? You don't have a pedal extender plug? Oh, okay, I thought you maybe had a code. Code
no
Mitch.
Plug.
Code Mitch.
10% off your pedal extenders. Great for dwarfs.
Yes, yeah. Yes. So, okay. That's episode 203. Quite the finish there. Great information leading up to whatever just happened the last like 5 or 6 minutes. If you guys have any questions about, am I training too basically? Is it time for me to advance things? Whatever, like reach out to us. We will help you out. If you guys have any questions about Untapped training, again, please reach out to us. We are more than willing, more than able to help you get the results that you want. Next men's workout should be in a couple weeks. Graphic will probably be out next week for that, barring any potential schedule changes, because we do hopefully have something cool coming up in a few weeks for you guys. Yeah. So really no immediate announcements right now. Sign up for the email newsletter. Again, beacons in our Instagram bio. Click on that link. Second one down is the email sign up. Put your email in, confirm the email, and you are in. I'm
also going to say something too, guys. Share our stuff.
Yes.
That is easily, if you guys like the stuff we do, if you're somebody that's like, I can't afford training right now, but I want to support these guys because they're awesome and I really enjoy what they do, share our stuff.
Yes.
It's free. Go freaking repost the reels we put out, whatever you want to do.
Yeah.
Sharing the stuff, guys, it makes so much difference because we get eyes on us too.
Mm-hmm.
And then we can reach out and help more people with training as well.
Yeah.
Both in person and online applications that we carry.
Right.
So trust me, guys, if you're not somebody that's purchasing anything from us, no hard feelings.
Of course.
Just please support us on the other end of things. That's also free in the scenario.
No, absolutely. Absolutely. All right, guys. Until next time, peace and love.
Thank you, ladies and gentlemen.